Welcome. I'm here with Katherine Trought, who is with Environment Canterbury. She's the Director of Communications and Engagement with Environment Canterbury. Welcome.
Thank you.
Katherine, please tell us, can you share an example of a recent air quality management success story in your community and tell us what made it a success?
One of the things that we've been doing recently is working with a behaviour change approach to cleaning up air quality in Christchurch, which is the city where I live. It's a city of about 390,000 people, and log burners, wood burners, is the real problem in the community, and it's a winter air quality problem. People love to burn wood. They're very attached to their log burners. We don't have central heating, so for a lot of people it's their main source of heating. But we can't meet our air quality standards if people continue to burn the way they do. So what we've been working with is looking at the motivations and what will change behaviour in the people who are burning woods, and we're running what we call a better burning campaign. And over a number of years we have sort of fine-tuned the way that we're doing that, and we're looking at how the rule is that you can't burn with any visible smoke showing after 15 minutes. But we've gone in a very educated way and said that may be the rule, but actually what we want to do is help you learn how to burn smarter and burn cleaner. And we've looked at the benefits to the householder of burning cleaner, which are around having a warmer home, and it's being cheaper because the wood's working harder for themselves and buying wood in advance, having it dry and that sort of thing. So we've looked at the motivations and the barriers to people doing that, and we've found that if we provide a lot of support, and we've done videos, we've done in-home demonstrations, we've been in the community at cafes showing people how to burn better, they've really they've been able to embed the new behaviours and the better ways of burning. And one of the things that we talk about is, step outside and have a look at your chimney after 15 minutes. If you can't see smoke, done a great job. If you can, then you still need to fine-tune your burning. And we've seen that people are really taking to that approach, a supportive approach, rather than just saying, well, they're the rules and you need to meet them.
Interesting. Let's talk about climate change. It's a global problem, but maybe you could comment on what role cities and regions could play in addressing climate change.
Well, the council that I work for we call it a regional council. It doesn't have a role in climate change mitigation, but it has a role in climate change adaptation. And so our role is to work with the communities to help them be more resilient in the face of climate change. From an air quality perspective, it actually doesn't have any impact on air quality work, because home heating is from wood, which is a renewable resource. But what we do as a regional council is look at how people can be resilient from floods, earthquake's not climate change, but from flooding caused by more extreme weather events. So from my experience and in the work that I do, there's very little interplay with climate change.
Good. Okay. Can you talk about ways in which public health and air quality management have been integrated in your community? You've touched on wood burning already. Maybe you could provide other examples of that?
One of the really important things for us in achieving our air quality outcomes is working with the health authorities and the people who can back us up when we say, when we talk about the health benefits of this. We don't speak about them, we ask our health professionals to talk about them for us and explain. When the government set its regulations, it looked at the health impacts of air quality to New Zealand and said it was responsible for about 1,200 deaths a year, premature deaths a year, and it was costing the community about 2.4 billion. But the community actually doesn't believe that, and they keep on asking us for evidence that all the pain and effort we're putting the community through is actually leading to health benefits, and we can't do that, and we don't have the studies to show it. But what we do is work with the health authorities to identify older people, vulnerable people who might be health compromised or poorer, and who might be spending more time in hospital than they need to, and working with them to insulate homes and provide them with more effective heating options for them. So that's really where we tie it with the house, is targeting people who are vulnerable and going in and helping with insulation and home heating.
So it's partnerships.
The partnerships with the health authorities are really important to us because they know who, and the senior citizens agencies and the people who work with vulnerable, because they know where these people are and can help us, and we partner with them from a funding perspective. They have provided funding for insulation, whereas we provided funding for better heating, so we get better health outcomes for the community, particularly the vulnerable.
Okay, good. Let's talk about citizen science. How do you see the role of citizen science in air management evolving?
We are required by government to have a certain sort of air quality sensor that provides them with the confidence that our measurements are right. So they need to be high quality, and we have a network of those in place. But what we've been doing recently, and it's really because the community finds it very hard to believe that they're part of the problem from a log burner perspective. They always can look and see, oh, it's that chimney, or it's that hospital, or it's that school. So what we've done in the last year, we've put a low-cost sensor onto a vehicle, and we've driven it around the streets of one of our towns and taken readings at regular intervals to actually show where air quality is poor and where it's not in the community, to show that it's actually not just one part of town that's causing the problem, but it's all over. And I think as sensors become cheaper and people have access to them, they'll be able to use them, and we'll be able to use them to demonstrate to the community that they are causing part of the problem. It's just not somebody else. And this year in one of the little towns that we work in, we're actually putting a network of sensors, and we're asking councillors and staff to actually host them in their back garden so that we can get a good picture of what's happening across the town. We can't use it for regulatory purposes, but we can use it to help the community understand the breadth of the problem and how they can play a part in making it better.
So you're not just encouraging some citizens to be using the sensors, you're actually providing them to them.
We are, as part of this. It's the first step, I suppose, into it. We haven't got a citizen science program, but we're using the availability of lower cost sensors to actually help drive people's engagement with air quality, and the fact that everyone's got a role to play to clean up the air.
Great. What are some of the biggest air quality management challenges for your community, both right now and in the coming decade, and what new tools or approaches will be needed to address these challenges?
Well, there's a couple of things I'd just like to highlight. One is that we've traditionally had quite old, dirty burners, and we have been pushing through our rules for new technology burners. People are wedded to their log burners, and there's no move to actually ban wood burning as a heat source. And so what we're driving for is cleaner burning technology, and over the last couple of years we've challenged the local wood burning industry in New Zealand to come up with burners that are really clean burning as wood burners, and so that we can have them in any home that people want. So I think technology is going to continue to be a driver for us into the future, looking for cleaner burners, and then the problem with that is that they tend to be a bit more expensive, and so phasing them in to the community, because log burners have quite a long life, so it's getting that turnover of the older burners to the cleaner burners. Coupled with that is the financial cost to the community, and I think in New Zealand we have a lot of older housing stock and older people who are less well off, and they tend to be part of the major part of the I guess the lag in terms of changing to cleaner forms of heating. So it's one of the challenges for us, and I'm sure it will continue into the next several years, is how do we support people who are less well off to actually make the change? How do we provide them with subsidies and the support that they need to take the next step and invest in cleaner burning technology?
Just to clarify for me, when you say wood burners, you mean the unit that the wood is burned in?
So in New Zealand, wood burners are a standalone unit that sits in your living room, that you poke wood in it and burns, and it tends to heat your living room, and we don't have central heating for the rest of the house, so people tend to burn them quite hot, open the doors and circulate around the house, or have electric heating in the rest of the house. So they tend to be a firebox that you sit in front of and you watch the fire and the flame, and people, we've got a long history of log burning, a colonial history, so that the whole sense of place and the log burner in your home is part of what people love.
Of course, yes. Okay. Thank you, Katherine.
It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Yes, thanks for joining us today.
That's great.